Hello, friends, and welcome to the May 22nd, 2022 edition of Pro Wrestling Throwdown. I'm Caleb Black. This is Luke the Big Dog Williams, along with our in-studio producer, the Mighty Max Fury, and our in-studio editor, Big Bad John. Luke, how is your Sunday, sir?
Day after Saturday. Did I get it right? What'd I win? Did I win something?
You won me another beer.
Attaboy.
Max, how's your Sunday?
I'm doing good.
We're
I
doing
didn't
great.
go anywhere this week. I decided to take a little time off, but I did do some research on your home country, Puerto Rico, just out of curiosity.
Not from Puerto Rico.
What
up, Medieval
Luke
Wolfie?
said.
We are killing it, baby.
What did I say?
You told me you were from Puerto Rico.
No, man. He's Mexican.
I will
Right.
be goddamned if I'm going to sit here and be
I get
criticized
mixed up all the
by a
time.
Sicilian and an Eskimo. Big Bad John, how was your Sunday?
You're from
My Sunday's going great.
I'm going to make this fucking clear one last time. My ancestral family comes from Colombia.
Mexicans.
That is not at all the same
Puerto
thing.
Rican.
What, you got something against
You know that
Mexicans?
small, tiny island in Puerto Rico?
All right, first of all, this episode's already gone off the rails. We've only been live for
All
a
right,
minute
yeah,
and a half.
hold on.
And this fucking Argentinian over here. All right.
No, we're doing good. Let's get to it. Pitter patter.
First of all, let me finish my introductions. Big Bad John, how was your Sunday?
Oh, my Sunday's been great. Had a fun time.
All right, well, pitter patter, let's get to it.
I got a few words.
We have a lot to get into this week. Obviously, the biggest story in the wrestling business, just jumping off the bat, is the walkout of WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Sasha Banks and Naomi.
There you go.
Monday night, this previous edition of Monday Night Raw, they were scheduled to compete in a six-pack challenge for the opportunity to get a shot at the Raw Women's Champion, Bianca Belair. It was set to take place in the main event. That's what it was advertised for. The competitors were Sasha Banks,
We are too.
Naomi, Doudrop, Alexa Bliss,
Yes.
Becky Lynch.
It was 3-on-3 with the idea that...
The winner scoring the pinfall. No, it was a six-pack challenge.
Yeah.
With the winner scoring the pinfall, the creative presented at the time was Naomi was going to pin Sasha. They initially go to Vince. They say, hey, we're not really happy with the hello, Ghost of Nightmare. I don't blame them walking out. They were getting screwed. Absolutely. We're going to get into that here in just a second. Yeah. Let me do the recap and we'll talk about it. They go to Vince initially, say, hey, we're not happy with this creative. Can we work on something? They have a positive conversation at first. They go back to relay out the story of the match. The producers get angry. They end up back in a meeting with Vince. They get insulted, basically telling, you're entitled. Change your attitude.
Yeah.
And then they leave. They talk amongst themselves. And 30 minutes before Raw goes live, they walk in. They set the women's tag team titles on John Laurinaitis' desk. They make their case. We're not respected as tag team champions. You're not investing in the work we're putting in. Fuck.
The storyline that they wanted is they wanted one to pin the other.
Yes.
Are we still live?
Yeah.
Okay, we had a connection problem there for a second.
Dropped.
I'm still going on mine, so I'm going to say.
Got you.
Okay, we're still good.
Okay, as long as
Out
you guys
there
can
in
see
TV
us, 'cause
land.
I can't see us on mine.
No, they went and they were like, you're going to go over on you. You're going to pin your partner.
Yeah.
Which was eventually to set up both women's title matches, Ronda versus Sasha, Naomi versus Bianca.
Yep.
They asked when their next tag program would be, and they said, you'll carry the belts
But you
until
won't
Money in
actually
the
defend
Bank.
them.
2 months.
By the way, guys, brief disclaimer. We've got a couple of new viewers in here. Please don't drink, don't smoke. We're not endorsed by tobacco or liquor or alcohol companies of any kind. We personally smoke. I personally partake in alcohol. Please don't follow suit, especially if you're not of age.
And
That
they
being
were
said,
like,
back to the rules.
They were like, why, what do we gain? Like, neither one of us were going to win the titles. We knew that. They told us that.
Yeah.
So I was going to pin my partner to get a title shot. We both were going to get belts walking in as the tag champions. You had no story for us. They said that Nikki Ash and Doudrop, they had no problem being in the ring with. They don't know why
Nikki
that was
Ash was
flipped. That they were supposed to start a program against each other.
Yeah.
And what they had asked was, why aren't those girls starting their program?
Yeah.
And us doing our thing with the tag titles. So
Right.
here's the deal. Because of that, Friday Night SmackDown, Michael Cole went on the air, said that they disappointed everybody. They were a disappointment to everybody.
Well, hold on. It started taking place on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
During that broadcast, the Raw broadcast team, Corey Graves, made a comment about how they were unprofessional, how they unceremoniously left, how they weren't there to do their jobs. Raw ran graphics counter to Sasha and Naomi. They even had Becky Lynch address it 30 minutes into Raw with her promo.
I missed the one on Raw.
And then at the end of Raw, nearing the end, the last half-hour mark, the WWE put up the press release that it released on its website, which basically went through in totality the situation they had, where they left, why they left, and ended by saying WWE is a scripted program and its employees are tasked to follow suit with the storylines given them.
Right. Now, here's the deal. They have publicly shamed them. They publicly shamed them. Hi, Bethany. They've taken their merchandise off WWE's shop.
Yep.
If you type in both their names, you won't see them.
Oh, absolutely nightmare.
We're
gonna
my
get into that
thing
here in just a second.
is if it's a work, it's a very elaborate work.
Yes.
However, if it's not, a lot of people are standing up for Sasha and Naomi. I'm not one of them.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very controversial statement, but here's the deal.
Well, go ahead. You make your piece.
As an artist, I get what they're saying. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't do this. It doesn't do that. But when you're a contracted professional wrestler for the WWE,
yep,
and you're their champion, you do what you're told.
You're a cog in the machine, baby.
You're being paid to be there and
Yep.
do what they tell you to do. It's no different than an actor on a script.
It's no different than a person at a regular job.
Exactly.
I can't walk into my job at the factory I work at and tell them I don't want to do the job you hired me to do. That's just point blank, period. If you cut it down to brass tacks, if you cut out the creative aspect, if you cut out all of that, number one, they're getting paid a significant amount of money. Sasha Banks is at the top tier of not even just women's wrestlers. One of the top tier, highest paid employees in the WWE.
Good afternoon, Jacob.
And, you do your job.
Well, and on top of that, here's the deal. Everybody, and I get a lot of people being like, bad for them. And I get that. But at the same time, Naomi does. I'm not going to speak to her private life.
Yeah.
But for you to walk out like that, knowing that your husband is on the ride of his career.
Yeah. Literally at the top of the company.
And you just decide to walk out, you're putting not only heat on yourself, you're putting heat on Jey Uso.
Yeah. And Jay's got enough trouble considering his legal issues over the past couple of months. Now, here's my statement on if it's a shoot, and we're going to talk about the aspects of it being a work after this, because that's what I believe it is. But if it's a shoot, I'm an actor. I'm a performer. I've had to sing stuff I didn't like. I've had to perform roles I didn't like. You do it when you sign up for the gig.
It's the job.
I can say, however, Sasha and Naomi are not the only wrestlers to stand up against creative they didn't agree with.
No.
Stone Cold Steve Austin walked out of a Monday Night Raw because he didn't want to do the job to Brock. Now, later on, he said, I wish I would have handled it a different way, but it was in the moment, blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying, it's not an unprecedented thing.
No.
There are wrestlers dating back to the NWA days or the territory days that Bobby Eaton and Jim Cornette walked out of WCW. No, I'm sorry. Stan Lane and Jim Cornette walked out of WCW when they were offered back.
Well, and we can touch us close to 4 months ago. Tony Storm did the exact same thing.
Tony Storm not only left, she
refused to come back.
Drove to the airport, hopped on a plane, and got the fuck out. Jeff Hardy walked out mid-match.
Yes.
So it's not like it hasn't been happening. I think that I support Naomi and Sasha's ideal that basically the thing that I support the most is what they wanted to make was the women's tag team titles mean something.
Point being made on in chat.
Yeah.
Ghostly Nightmare says, if this is a work, I don't see what they will gain from it.
Hold on. May I?
Sure. Go ahead.
You know what they gain from it? This. Number one, nobody watching the WWE programming anymore has a suspension of disbelief, with the exception that Brock Lesnar might have legitimately injured somebody if he was wrestling them.
Yeah.
Right? Can you think of any other instance in which you're watching something and someone gets hurt and then you question whether or not it's a work or a shoot?
The Undertaker's streak
The
loss.
streak, right?
Yep.
What it gains all week long, Busted Open.
Yep.
The weekly Sirius XM satellite radio show that covers wrestling 6 days a week for 6 days. The only topic has been the walkout. on the internet, every other YouTube channel just like ours, every other podcast, every other wrestling. Tony Khan weighed in on the situation.
Yes.
It gets more notoriety in the mainstream, specifically from the WWE, for a number of reasons. Number one, it feels like a legitimate, real storyline, which brings eyes back to the product. Why? Because all of a sudden, you're questioning whether or not it's real, and that's entertaining.
Yes.
Number two, it puts them in a position to come back. Let's say, for instance, they have this women's tag team title tournament that happens, and Sasha and Naomi walk out and decide, you know what? No, we're still the champions.
You mean like Punk did with Cena?
Exactly. There are a ton of merits to it being a work, and I genuinely think it's a work. And we'll talk about the reasons afterward.
Right.
But if it is a work, number one, it's elaborate. Number two, it's believable. And number three, it's getting attention, which for all intents and purposes is what you want your product to do.
There's no such thing as bad publicity.
You're damn right, baby.
Especially in the wrestling business.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like somebody reviewing a movie and completely trashing it, even though the movie's fantastic, but people talk.
Yeah.
People are like, well, I know that this movie was great. What did that guy say about it? And then they go on and it's clickbait, like anything else.
Let me compare it to something currently going on today.
Sure.
The Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial. That's all you see all over Facebook. In the entertainment universe and the personal universe too, that's what people are glued to.
Yeah.
In the professional wrestling universe, the only story popping people's eyeballs right now is Naomi and Sasha walked out. Is it real? Is it fake? What happens next? We're talking about it right now. This is the top segment of our show. So there are tons of merits to it being a work. Absolutely.
Jacob says, I wouldn't mind seeing them on AEW. Ghostly Nightmare. I get that, but things ain't looking good. Like you said, they lost Tony Storm, Jeff Hardy. This doesn't look good for WWE.
Absolutely.
Can I?
Please. Yeah.
This, and I'm sure he shares the same sentiment. The only ones making noise are the ones that the fans are seeing firsthand. What you don't see is all the people who walk out on a daily basis.
Oh, yeah.
Stephanie McMahon's taking time away from the WWE for personal reasons.
But on the flip side, Triple H just came back.
Correct. But what I'm saying is anyone in the public eye that doesn't know that,
that
isn't keen to that, says, well, this is a bunch of rats deserting a sinking ship.
Yeah.
What they don't understand is that the WWE is more profitable now than they've ever been.
Let me make something very clear. The WWE right now, in its current position, never has to sell another ticket to a live event, only has to run the syndicated advertised spots on the networks, never has to sell another bit of merchandise, and absolutely nothing will affect their fiscal report for the rest of the year.
Right. And also
that's a fact.
To touch on what Rob said about they ain't actually losing much with them walking away. They have a great
roster.
They
do have a great roster. I don't disagree with that.
Here's the deal with that. We never needed women's tag titles to begin with.
And on top of that, they are losing something in Sasha Banks and Naomi, that they are the top competitors in their division. Sasha, the number one wrestler in women's wrestling is Charlotte Flair. That's inarguable. Sasha Banks' name is always in the conversation for a possible number two. You can say it could be Sasha and Ronda, or Sasha and Becky, or Sasha and...
Hold on. We've got a point being made from the Joy of Pro Wrestling. Thank you for joining us, Mark. It says, what do they gain by pulling merchandise from their website? Sasha and Naomi could get major heat on Dynamite as a big fish in a small pond, like their stuff doesn't
What
stink.
they benefit from pulling the merchandise is selling the story. It doesn't affect their bottom line because they only get a percentage of that anyway, which they can get back in bonuses. If I were the WWE and I wanted to book a storyline, number one, you can't do it with Roman, right? Because we all know Roman's tied down. You could do it with Brock.
Could.
But do you want to sacrifice one of your larger acts that you might have to pull for Survivor Series this year? You don't do it with Charlotte because she's already taking time off. You don't do it with Ronda because she's one of their champions. You don't do it with Becky because she's a prime contender, and you don't do it with Seth or Cody because they're the number one thing to watch right now.
The reason it points to a work on Shop specifically, or WWE.com, when somebody, even when they walk out, Jeff Hardy was immediately placed in the alumni section of WWE.com. Yep. Neither one of these girls are in the alumni section.
Nope.
Therefore, they have not been fired. They've not been released. They've not been anything.
Non-existent currently.
So what do? You take their merchandise off. You don't put them in the alumni section, and to the normal wrestling fan, they think they're really gone.
Yeah.
And then they show up in a little bit. Naomi and them join the bloodline with the rest of the champions. And you get the heat that we've been talking about her doing for months now.
It's also noted that Sasha's already been in this position before. In 2018, when she and Bayley were women's tag team champions, Sasha also held the company up and got a raise. So why not extrapolate that later on? If you've got two top contenders, Naomi's going to be attached regardless, right? Naomi's Jay's wife. The WWE isn't going to mess with their top draw right now, and that's Roman Reigns. The family aspect of their story is what ties it together.
Yes.
So Naomi is part of that family, regardless of what anybody wants to admit or see or what have you. The only exception to that rule was Nia Jax. Frankly, we're all better off that she's off TV.
Well, and also when you get rid of Sasha Banks from WWE television,
Yep.
you also sever ties with the Star Wars franchise.
Which they would not jeopardize that relationship.
You wouldn't
with
mess
Disney.
with Disney for nothing. Vince McMahon doesn't want Disney problems.
And here's the other part. If it is a work, good for Sasha Banks.
Yes.
Because she's in a sweet spot where she can literally say, I don't really need you because I can just go work full-time for Disney and they'll give me a fucking storyline wherever I want to go. Yeah. Not really because of the relationship between Charlotte and her fiance that's in AEW. We're not talking. Charlotte Flair isn't part of the bloodline. Charlotte Flair is the top of the women's division. Andrade doesn't factor into that. No. Andrade was never a beeline star. Sasha Banks, and again, despite what anyone wants to say or wants to think, sells more merchandise for the women in their company than anyone else. She's been the top
rings, the glasses,
the top reported merchandise female pusher for the last 3 years, and that's over both Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. She is a viable commodity.
Since the bloodline is going for all the titles, they should have Naomi join the bloodline, and she can go for the women's title,
what better way to bring them back and have Naomi turn on Sasha?
I still think that should be Nia Jax, though.
I agree.
Even though she's not great.
If not Nia Jax,
for the bloodline.
If not Nia Jax, they've got Tamina. Sitting on SmackDown right now doing nothing.
Yep.
Either way, if it's not a work and it is a shoot, what we have is a situation that isn't unprecedented, but hasn't happened in a while, except for the numerous amounts. And you can even equate it to like Moxley letting his contract run out and leaving. Cody Rhodes on the other side, leaving AEW and popping up at the WWE. Sasha and Naomi were unhappy with creative, and this is from the perspective that it's real.
Right.
And now they're in a position, because they're in a bargaining position. They've got a scheduled meeting next week. That's already been made public by the WWE. Vince is going to sit down with both of them and try to reconcile it. So if you're Sasha and Naomi, both of them have a unique thing because Sasha can go in and say, look, I'm tied to all of this merchandise. I'm also Snoop Dogg's niece who gets featured in a ton of stuff he's doing.
I didn't know that.
Yes. And it's his legitimate niece. Huh. So Sasha Banks goes in and says, I already work for Disney. I've got a key role on one of their top drawing streaming platform shows, and I'm one of your top drawing merchandise people. Now, I don't know what she's getting paid right now. I assume it's a couple of million.
Probably.
So let's make it okay. She walks in. Let's say, for instance, right now she signed at $2 million. And by the way, the best part of this story is both of them only have like 2.5 months on their contract left.
Yes.
So she can walk in when it's renegotiation time, take her 2.5 months off, and say, look, you're paying me $2 million right now. I want $3 million. Or I will go do my own spinoff with ABC, and then I'll take that relationship to AEW.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Turner and ABC have to work together to tell me all the stories, and I get to walk in and be the biggest bitch in the fucking roster, and I get to go and be the AEW Women's Champion. They're going to pay me more than you anyway, and I get to keep all of my outside deals, or you can pay me right now, and I'll play them up, provided you give me creative control, baby. Naomi.
Well, and also you don't ever have to really worry about the AEW thing because we've got a Ring of Honor show getting ready to be rebranded that needs star power.
And imagine, too,
what better star power
imagine
for their
what happens
division.
if Sasha Banks decides I'm going international. Sasha Banks takes her name, her clout, her affability to AAA. And all of a sudden, the number
Japan.
2 women's wrestler in the fucking world is wrestling in Mexico. It's a viable fucking possibility, pardon the language. But man, it's such a cool story to speculate about. Number one, I hope if it is legitimate that all parties come to a viable agreement where everyone keeps working, right? Because that's what we want.
That's the important thing. That is the important thing.
But if it's a work, whatever writer, whatever agent whatever person devised this story that lit up the entire wrestling world for the last week, give that guy a bonus. Make that guy your No Russo and make him right for fucking everything. Because if it makes you question even for a second that this overproduced, tightly controlled, television segmented episodic run of a series is even in the most remote version of real, pay that man more.
Well, and not only that, people tend to forget. Everybody acts like this is new. I'm telling you, the Summer of Punk, when it kicked off,
that was their entire
he won
plan.
the title. He left. There was no champion. He changed his Twitter away from WWE, which both Naomi and Sasha Banks have done within the last few days. They played like they showed up at different. He showed up at different promotions, still under contract with the WWE, and yet everyone in the media and everything else thought that he was gone. It's a smart move if it's not a shoot.
When Cena lost to the Nexus, they moved him to the alumni section that night on Monday Night Raw.
Well, how many times that year did Cena get fired?
Well, once legitimately for the false steroid. Well, false steroid.
No, but I mean, how many times that year did he retire? He couldn't beat. He turned on Randy Orton or CM Punk in the Nexus. Mm-hmm. He was supposed to be fired.
Yeah.
He stayed away from TV till SummerSlam, come back. Daniel Bryan was the same way that year with the Nexus and the choke thing. Everything you see on TV doesn't necessarily mean that it's fact.
Right.
Here's the deal. That's why this business is so fun and so intriguing, especially here recently.
Intriguing
because you don't know. And that's the thing. We can speculate all we want. We can tell you what we want. And we're not trying to tell you either way whether it is
we're just offering opinions and observations.
We're showing you how both sides of the coin can work out for the positive.
Yep.
What I'm saying is if you're told to do a job and you're being paid to do a job, you do the job.
Yep.
If it's real and they walked out because of that, they should have known better because they're both families to big-time wrestling.
Yeah.
And everything, you know better, and you're making the other half look incredible.
But also to that argument, we talk all the time about stagnant creative. We talk all of the time about how workers need to have more power in the wrestling companies and the wrestling industry. Maybe it is good they stood up if it's legitimate.
Rob, I know that.
I'm say different passing. Absolutely.
Yes, exactly. That is our job.
Nightmare says, regardless if this is a worker, actually, really, it does make good entertainment.
Exactly.
It does, because this is what people are thinking about. Now, we haven't covered this yet. This is why I think it's a work. The WWE, Vince McMahon himself, didn't sell for the IRS.
No.
He didn't sell for the United States government.
No.
During the steroid trial. He didn't sell to the UK government during the Panda trial. The Panda trial being when
WWF,
he fought the WWF. He didn't sell to any of the news organizations during the Benoit tragedy.
No.
Vince McMahon has never once gone out of his way to acknowledge turmoil in anything when it comes to his company.
Or ever say that it was fake.
Especially right now when he's positioning himself to sell the company. If you believe corporate metrics and their activity, that's the obvious idea. You're telling me that two female talents, who by all means are two top drawing female talents in the company, but two female talents detracting from his main event that he's setting up with The Rock, the biggest movie star in the world, in less than 8 months, that's what derailed the whole ship?
No.
That's what set Vince McMahon off. Wasn't Jeff Hardy, who was at the time possibly considerably under the influence, which would have looked 1,000 times worse to potential buyers, even though he ended up being clean? That was their concern at the time.
Yeah.
It wasn't that. No. It wasn't the fact that 4 years ago, one of his top major stars and highest paid stars literally let his contract expire to the point of go fuck yourself. Then it happened again with another notable tag team who was currently the greatest tag team in the world, and they didn't do any shakeups or any press releases then. No. It was the two women's tag team champions that finally said, no. The public needs to know the truth.
Yeah.
We have to tell them. Go fuck yourself. It's a work. And if it's not, I'm fine. I'm totally wrong. But if it is, you're doing your job, because this is all I've wanted to talk about all week long, and kudos to you.
Yeah. And here's the deal. What better way to shake?
I'm eating this fucking gummy worm.
What better way to shake up an industry and everything that Raw has become, up until here recently, Raw's been unwatchable. SmackDown's been fairly watchable.
Raw was terrible except for
Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes and Matt Riddle and Jay had another stellar match
Okay.
on Raw.
Well, now you take it this way, and you take the fact.
Nightmare, while we're talking out, why don't you hit us with why you think Jeff Hardy left? We'll talk about it here on the show.
Not sure if you guys are having streaming issues or if it's just not.
We're having a little bit of difficulty here and there, Bethany. It could be a combination of the two.
But anyway, so Monday night they do the Corey Graves thing, and then they put out a press release that says more info Friday night on SmackDown. Well, what they just did is they took that and they made how many more million viewers that turned into SmackDown to find out what was actually going on.
In television, they call that a lead-in.
Yes.
That's what they did.
Yeah,
they
a
gave you a reason
cliffhanger,
to watch.
so to speak. If, like I said, if it's a work, kudos. If
And
it's a shoot,
kudos to the business parties anyway.
kudos to you sticking by your guns, but I do believe you picked the wrong fight.
Actually, hold on to that. Kudos to both parties. If it's a shoot, kudos for them for standing up. Kudos for the WWE not buckling, setting a precedent. This is what we expect from our superstars across the board, and we're not going to be muscled in.
Well, what they thought they could do is they could pull the Jeff Hardy thing, and that WWE would just let them go,
Well,
and they're not.
To my prior argument, given Jeff's substance abuse history and the fact that it would
Don't
have
drink, don't smoke.
and the fact that it would have looked bad to a potential buyer or at least a new corporate asset. Remember, we're talking about the WWE as a corporate environment, which is why if it is a work, they had to come out and say these are actors paid to do a job, specifically because of the remarks that were made in their first report when it said that Naomi and Sasha felt unsafe. In the corporate environment, you can't say we put our employees in an environment in which they felt like they were going to get hurt, or they weren't careful, where they didn't know what their instructions were going to be, because it looks bad on them. So again, it's just everybody covering their bases. The weird thing to me, whether or not it's a work or a shoot, is Sasha Banks hasn't tweeted. Naomi hasn't tweeted.
They've just changed their Twitter handles.
They've changed them, but they haven't lost their verification, which if you're legitimately gone from the WWE is one of the first things that happens.
Yeah, ask anyone.
Brian James, one of the most notable tag team wrestlers in the history of the WWE during its most profitable time, lost his blue check mark the day his contract went up.
Yep.
He had to file for a new one. I don't think he's still verified at the moment.
He's not, and you know why that is? Like you said, the WWE is the one that gets those verified. Going back to Ghostly Nightmare, the reason I think that Jeff Hardy left was that he wanted to have another moment with his brother, and he knew that Vince would not let him out of his contract, so he lied about falling off the wagon.
Yeah, no one disagrees with that.
No, that's exactly what he did.
Yeah,
that's
exactly what he did. Good, fuck him.
And here's the deal. The thing that really bothers me about that is that the WWE tried to buckle with Jeff Hardy to save face. It was like, we'll induct you into the Hall of Fame. We'll give you a lighter schedule and more money, but we don't want Matt. And Jeff, being a professional first, but a professional second due to being a brother first, was like, you're not inducting Jeff Hardy without Matt. It doesn't make sense.
You don't get one without the other.
You either induct the Hardy Boys or you don't induct anyone. And that's what he chose. But here's the deal. It's not like he left for less money.
No. Uncle Tony opened the checkbook.
Not to mention the creative freedom that wrestlers in AEW have. It's documented.
Yeah. The ironic thing about this is queuing into one of our next topics of discussion, because I don't want this to eat up the entire episode.
Here you go, Bethany. Open your mouth. Wider. I bet she did it. I bet she did it.
So several reports. We've also been covering. Good, Max.
Good.
We've also been covering the unrest over at AEW. If you guys didn't watch last week, there's a number of parties who backstage are seriously unhappy with their contract status and the handling of.
And do you know why? We'll get to that here in just a second, Caleb. But first, please remember to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already.
Yes.
After this week, next week's show, if you're not a subscriber, you will not be
allowed to participate in the chat.
Exactly.
We are holding to that. Next week, we're going to set the limitation. If you're not a sub, you don't get to have fun.
And we are also going to make...
You know what I'm talking about. Hey-o! That's fine.
I'm lost. But anyway, after next week, you will not be able to take part. We are going to, for the subscribers, I made this decision.
Yep.
I
fully
think
support it.
that next week, a random segment every week we're going to do a new segment where we're going to take 5 questions
Yes.
for every week.
Every week.
From your subscribing comments.
Yep.
But you have to be subscribed to take place in the chat. So in order for your question to be answered live on the show, you have to be a subscriber. So
Yes.
please hit that subscribe button. Also, bash the shit out of that like button. And likes mean so much to us content creators. And we appreciate it. We love the fact that when we get the likes, we know that you guys like the content that we're putting
Our
out.
goal for the year end, and look, we've already been talking about it, is 250. That's what we'd like to hit this year. Please help us out. Get there. Hold on. Because before all this happened, the writing was on the wall. I've seen stuff pointing to this going to happen. Even Jeff made comments in interviews. The Hardy Boys reuniting. Yes. Jeff had made his interest very clear that he wanted one more run with Matt well before his release. But this segues to one of the other points for this week. As I was saying, we've already noted that a number of AEW talents are unhappy.
Yes.
A report circulated this week that the environment in AEW during production time is so chaotic that some wrestlers have no clue what's going on. Now, this was all brought to light last year when Big Swole got her release, and she said point blank, "There's not enough focus backstage. I never know who to go to when I need answers to questions." And now it's becoming more and more clear that all of the chaos we see in the WWE, where there is a team of writers, a team of producers, one boss controlling everything, circulates over to the other company where there's one guy telling everybody what to do, and still nobody has a fucking clue what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me to think that in 2022 we have $2 billion company. Well, $1 billion company and another company owned by a billionaire, and there was still this much disorganization.
Thank you for the likes.
However, if you tune into Impact, the smallest company in the game, mainstream-wise, with the exception of the NWA,
they got the best production.
Best production. Nobody's unhappy. They're finally getting paid money because their parent company started funneling more money. Guys are getting paid. Like, how is the tiniest company in the game and the company with the worst reputation, just due to history?
Told you. Told you she'd open her mouth.
Is like, hey, come work for us. You'll make a little less money, but I promise you, when you report on Tuesday, we'll tell you what the fuck you're going to do.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, come to the WWE. We'll pay you millions of dollars. What am I doing? Let me go ask the writers. And after I talk to the writers, I'll go talk to the producers. And then I'll send one of the producers to talk to Vince. And if Vince likes it, then that's what we'll do. But if Vince doesn't like it, Vince is going to go talk to the writers. Then Vince will talk to the producers. Then you'll have another meeting with the producers. And if you still don't like that, then you go talk to Vince again. But even after that, still go check in with your producers.
I'm lost.
Yeah. Imagine working there.
Yeah.
Imagine being imagine being Drew McIntyre. He's been on the road already for 3 days. Comes into a Monday Night Raw. He walks in, former WWE champion. What am I doing tonight?
Thank you, Wolfie. Appreciate it.
What am I doing tonight? Well,
you're gonna have a tag match.
A tag match with Baron Corbin and Jobber A.
Yeah.
All right. Who's my partner? Well, it can be one or two of these guys. All right. Well, you guys figured that out. Come meet me in catering at noon. Now it's noon. What am I doing? Well, the writers think that you're going to team with Jobber A and he's going to team with Jobber B. And then this is what you guys are going to do in the match. All right. Let me take that to a producer. Does this work for you guys? Well, I don't really like this spot in segment 2. We're going to change that. All right. Now we got the match lined out. It's 2 p.m. Show starts at 7, kids. We still got 5 hours.
Yes.
Right? All right. Well, I need to take this to Vince, says your first producer. Make sure he likes it. Vince says, scrap every bit of segment 2, rewrite it. I don't fucking like any of it.
Thank you.
Now it's 3:30. 3:30, they get the report.
Yes.
And Drew's like, hello, former WWE World Champion in this tag match. What the fuck am I doing? Now you get the rewrite. Well, then Drew's unhappy. So at 5 o'clock, he gets to sit down with Vince. They have a meeting, and at 6:30, they finally agree what they're doing. They got a 30-minute window to go to another producer, and if the producer doesn't like it, he gets to go back to Vince. The match is scheduled at 8 o'clock, and at 7:45, nobody has a fucking clue what they're doing. And you're paying me $3 million a year to sit here and take this bullshit?
Sounds a little bit familiar, doesn't it?
Doesn't it? You don't even know. Yes, thank you, Wolfie. And yes, I talked to Ghostly Nightmare on Facebook. He was at Anna Fight shows.
Nice. Well, thank you so much.
Jacob Wells.
Oh.
The guy I was talking to you about the other day. Jacob Wells says, I wouldn't mind to see a superstar shakeup between Raw, SmackDown, and AEW.
Yeah.
It would be kind of neat.
It's insane to me to think that in nowhere On either side of the pond, you got guys who were. Cody Rhodes was a founder for AEW, and they couldn't come up with a succinct plan for him, so he jumped. Sasha Banks, a pillar for the WWE for the last 10 years.
Right.
They don't know what they're doing with her, so she's in a mix right now. They can't get anything right anywhere.
You ain't wrong.
Yeah. What else we got in the news? Before we jump off here, I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to formulate any questions you might have about the Sasha Banks situation that we might be able to answer. The window is going to be limited, so if you have questions right now before we move on to the next series of segments, please ask. While I'm checking my notes.
Rob wants to talk about Madcap, and I know exactly what he's talking about.
The injury.
Yes, Madcap Moss was injured and written off TV. The idea between Madcap Moss is the fact that they want to do a repackage on Madcap, and the easiest way to do that is to get rid of him, repackage him, and bring him back. Same thing with when they reached out to Elias's brother.
Yeah, they do it all the time.
When they reached out to Elias's brother, that's what I mean.
It's
Big E actually, unfortunately, had mentioned not too long ago that things in his neck were worse.
Yeah, they weren't they're not worse. They weren't healing as well as expected.
Right.
But they're still optimistic that he's going to heal up. It's just going to be an extended period of time.
And then Brian getting his leg stuck.
Yes. So basically, kudos to Tony Khan on the topic of kayfabe. Bryan Danielson, during a 6-man tag match on Rampage, the 1-hour follow-up show to AEW Dynamite on TBS.
I hate that word, Bentley.
He got his leg caught between the ramp and the ring. Reports indicate that he was there for about 10 minutes. Once they finally got him through, he was limping backstage. He's fine. He had a little bit of bruising and I think like one ligament tear, but totally nothing long withstanding or damaging. The coolest thing about it, though, and not turning chicken salad into chicken shit, was Tony Khan putting out a tweet and was like, "This is why we don't have unsanctioned fights at pro wrestling shows, because legitimate injuries happening."
Well, and not only that, but the whole idea that AEW shared that footage, shared that footage on its on its YouTube page. You can see Daniel Bryan stuck, and everything. So here's the deal: it happened. Yeah. Like Paul Heyman. It happened.
Tony Khan got ahead of it.
Talk about it.
And Tony Khan didn't be like, "Oh, accidents happen. You know, it's a big show and a production thing." No, Tony Khan was like, "This is why you don't fight when you're not supposed to." Totally like rolling the business along. Made it very cool. Brian's healthy. Brian's okay.
He's fine.
Obviously, with his previous history, we're always concerned about injuries. Leg injuries can exacerbate neck injuries.
Do y'all ever, from Joy of Pro Wrestling, do y'all remember any WCW guys getting hurt that way? I'm sure it happened, but I can't recall. Yes.
LaParca took a backdrop. The original LaParca took a backdrop to the ramp and hit his neck between the crevice and the ring on a random like thunder. And he was written off Thunder for like 3 or 4 months just because his neck hit that wrong spot.
Also, there's been a lot of things when it comes to a ramp in professional wrestling. It's not a ramp.
Yeah.
What you're seeing in
all right,
AEW.
Rob, well, thank you so much for checking in with us, buddy. Have a great day.
What's up?
Rob's got to head out. He's got stuff going on.
Oh, right. Take it easy, my man. But yeah, it's not a ramp. A ramp would go downward. This is a stage. That's being built. A lot of things on stages have happened that weren't supposed to happen. Sting,
I think, got hurt on the ramp one time. Coming to the ring against Flair.
Bam Bam Bigelow and Taz.
Prince Iakea, I think.
Chris Kanyon taking that dive off the triple cage onto the stage.
Yeah.
Actually, the stage messed him up. That wasn't a gimmick.
Yeah.
He was out for quite a while because of it. Well, you don't need a stage. That's why WWE doesn't have one.
I mean, if you want to talk about
safe
production injuries, we could talk about that all day. They set The Undertaker on fire back in 2001.
The fireworks that blew up around Jeff Hardy.
Well,
it was staged, but again.
Let's talk about that. You wanted to talk about a messed up flaming boot.
Oh,
what was that?
I don't think.
No, you put that on there right now.
Talk about it.
Talked about.
Okay,
that needs to be addressed.
All right, kids.
Hold on for a second. This is the indie report now. This is something that happened on an indie show.
This is going to be very sensitive due to my own opinions and my own vernacular. So if you're offended easily, I recommend that you tune out for just a second or give me a little forgiveness. Joey Janela former AEW superstar of All Elite Wrestling, the number 2 company in the world when it comes to professional wrestling, decided this previous weekend that he would set his kick pad on fire and throw a super kick. Not unlike how Ty Blade defeated Bull Bronson at AFU Hardcore The Grudge last month.
Yes.
But I digress about the fact that he tuned into IWTV and stole a finish.
Thanks for your
No. What he did was pour too much lighter fluid on a cloth and polyester kick pad, throw the super kick, and then in the middle of the ring, in a crowd full of people, couldn't put the fire back out.
Explain the correct way to do this.
The correct way to do it is to have the proper type of kick pad and or boot that doesn't absorb and or catch the lighter fluid and won't actually light on fire. Number 1. Number 2, you use a controlled amount of lighter fluid. That way it doesn't piss all over the fucking ring when you try to put the boot out and it keeps catching the ring itself on fire. And number 3, if you're Joey Janela, you don't fucking do it.
Find and watch the video.
Plain and simple.
Yes,
I
please.
understand that people in wrestling want to do edgy stuff, and I understand that we did the spot ourselves, except Ty Blade did it. Ty Blade, who is a legitimately trained professional wrestler, who was a part of TNA Asylum back in 2004, has been a part of the wrestling business for almost a legitimate 20 years, decided to use that spot, and you know what he did? He did it the right fucking way. Instead, these untrained, Joey Janela has fully admitted that he has zero legitimate training in professional wrestling. He got his job at AEW because he was buddies with Brandon Cutler and the rest of those SoCal cucks from fucking Southern California. And then when he gets a spot on TV, he doesn't go to the gym, he doesn't tan, he doesn't get any fucking better, to the point where Tony Khan, the guy who built the company, released him. And then when he's on the indies, after he's actually been putting in the work, decides, hey, I'm going to do this really cool thing, except I'm going to do it in a really stupid fucking way. If you're not a stunt driver, you don't drive a stock car 90 miles an hour. If you're not a stunt man, you don't take a fucking 20-foot fall onto the hard ground. And if you're not a trained professional wrestler, trained in legitimate stunts, you don't fucking do that. I got that out of my system.
It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
Like, dude, you're setting the canvas of the ring on fire because you're an idiot.
Yeah, not to mention
I am not a hardcore or deathmatch wrestler. So you know what I don't do? Hardcore or deathmatch shit.
Here's the deal.
It's that simple. If you're a bad wrestler, just have bad wrestling matches. I know lots of bad wrestlers who just do that and make a career doing that.
Here's the deal.
If you look like you work at the Jiffy Lube, change the oil. Just change the fucking oil. Just keep changing. That's all you got to do.
Are you done?
If you work at a...
No, here's the deal. When Ty Blade did it, like you said, Ty Blade used
it was cool because he knows what he's doing and he's awesome.
A controlled amount of lighter fluid. Now, here's the deal. What people don't think is, yes, it was a mistake, of course. Dude put extremely too much on. But what people are failing to realize is that through his sloppiness, that fire and that extra stuff that was burning could have come off and hit the guy in the face.
Or could have come
permanently
off and hit a
hurt
fan.
somebody. Yeah. Could personally have really, really messed some people up.
As if the wrestling business needs any more bad press.
Right? I mean, hell, we already have the... Oh, speaking of press and Twitter and everything, why don't you let the folks know what CM Punk's been up to on Twitter here lately?
Okay, so Punk goes to Twitter.
That's what you call a segue, kids. Got him good.
Punk goes to Twitter a little while ago and just talks about how he feels like he's in a position right now that can challenge even Hulk Hogan and Macho Man coming to AEW.
Yes.
In the modern age. Well, Eric Bischoff takes exception to that and basically reminds CM Punk that, well, rightfully so, regardless if it was necessary or not. No, you're not.
Yeah.
When Hulk Hogan joined the NWO, it changed the wrestling business.
Yes.
You popped a 1.2 million rating on your first night out, and you haven't drawn any more ratings since. To which CM Punk responds, a guy who ran a failed wrestling business 30 years ago and shouldn't have any opinions, blah, blah, blah. It turned into this dramatic diatribe where Bischoff, using his business acumen and his history in the wrestling business, basically said,
You're
you
wrong.
have whatever opinion you want.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Yeah.
You're not as big as Hulk Hogan. You're not as big as
CM
Macho
Punk
Man.
will never be as big as Hulk Hogan. No one will.
CM Punk, rightfully so. Hey, in our business environment, CM Punk coming back and did change the wrestling landscape in AEW. So that's a legitimate thing. But we have this weird conversation going on now between former WCW owner in 2022 having an argument with a 43-year-old CM Punk on Twitter.
Yeah. The night of the pipe bomb was one of the highest rated episodes of Raw. Yes, but the highest rated episode of Raw was, segment-wise, was The Rock and Mick Foley's This Is Your Life. And the pipe bomb come nowhere close to the ratings at the time.
The pipe bomb didn't even draw as much rating as the live sex celebration between Edge and Lita.
That's what I was just about
The
to say.
pipe bomb didn't draw as many ratings, as much ratings as the 4.9 episode of TNA did when they were featured on an episode of House.
Well, and not to mention, the pipe bomb didn't garner the ratings. It's not the highest rated because the pipe bomb didn't become a thing until after it had already been done on Raw.
Now, did the pipe bomb set off the Summer of Punk?
Yes.
Stabilize their ratings and put Punk in a position to make a ton of money? Be the top
Absolutely,
guy?
absolutely.
1,000,000%. Not taking away from that at all. But if you're going to sit here and tell me the pipe bomb shaped as much ratings as, I don't know, the night that
Hogan turned.
the Monday Night Nitro after Hogan turned, well, then I have a very nice oceanfront piece of property in Arizona that I will sell you for the paltry sum of $1,000.
Right. Also, I mean, if you want to look at it, that if you're talking about highest rated segments, I don't believe the pipe bomb even begins to touch Hogan's turn after WrestleMania and The Rock. When he come out and there was a standing ovation for 15 minutes straight where he couldn't talk.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, CM Punk jumping on Eric Bischoff, of all people, is the dumbest thing he could have possibly done.
And I'll say that because Bischoff has the best business acumen of anybody in the wrestling business. Maybe with the exception of Vince McMahon, but you have to remember Vince McMahon has a team of corporate advisors. Eric Bischoff, as far as business savvy is concerned, still outside of the wrestling business notoriety for over 20 years now, still has every major network television contact that he did, still actively produces television.
Mark Ross points it out the best from the Joy of Pro Wrestling.
Groundbreaking more than record breaking.
Pipe bomb was
1,000,000%
groundbreaking more than record breaking. You are correct. Also, don't forget to check out the Joy of Pro Wrestling here on YouTube. Wrestling with Wills on Facebook. Fraley Fear here on YouTube. All of us are more or less a
conglomerate.
A community.
We're a
community of creators.
Don't forget to check out my buddy over at Beats Meets Heat. Meets Heat.
Thank you. If you're looking for them, they are subscribers to this channel.
Yep.
Look at the subscriber list. We subscribe to everyone who subscribes to us. Send links, send anything you can to us. Sometimes we can't see it on here. If you send it to the Facebook page, I personally will jump on this account and go to YouTube and subscribe. We follow for a follow. That's how we do things.
Speaking of all the social medias, don't forget to find us at facebook.com/Pro Wrestling Throwdown. Follow us on Twitter at Pro Wrestling TD. You can send us an email at prowrestlingthrowdown@gmail.com. And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment right here on YouTube.
Why should they subscribe?
Because next week we're going to be limiting all of the content here in our live chat. Only subscribers will be able to live interact with us. And I'd like you to subscribe now because next week we take our picks for our point race for the rest of the contest, because next week will be AEW's Double or Nothing.
Yes.
So if you want to participate in that, you want to get our opinions and get some live feedback, make sure you subscribe, baby.
We might also throw a couple polls up, let you guys vote on some stuff.
Nightmare says, I still have a question about that night when he dropped the pipe bomb that has never been answered. Why don't you ask it and see what we can answer for you, if we have the answers?
While we're doing that, I would like to also step out one more time and say thank you guys.
Oh, yeah,
really
you guys are making this
appreciate
episode so good today.
We look so forward to Thursdays and the chance to talk to you guys because as we all have lives, we don't get to text. We don't get to be as close to people as we would like to be anymore due to everyone's work schedule and everything. This is our one day a week that we can reach out and actually get feedback. And we want to put the content on there that you guys want to see. And the only way that you can do that after this week is to subscribe and put it in the chat.
I feel bad because we haven't actually touched on any of the other stuff that happened in wrestling yet this week. But
there was
honestly,
2 guys in underwear wrestling for a belt with no pants.
That's correct. The Usos are the Unified Tag Team Champions.
Yes.
Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole advanced in the Owen, as well as did Britt Baker.
And Chris Statlander.
And
I
Chris
actually want
Statlander.
to. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
I actually kind of wanted to adjust that match with RK Bro and the Usos.
Yeah.
too.
Uh-huh.
Actually, it was a really, really good match.
It was.
I did call it. They still have not beaten them without Roman Reigns' help.
Yep.
Yes.
And the beatdown afterwards, I don't know if you guys got to see that.
Yeah.
I felt like it was 1997.
Yeah, it
Well,
really did.
Minus the blood.
That shot
Right.
at the end with Roman in the middle holding up both belts and either Uso
Uh-huh.
standing.
The best part of that was Heyman on the ropes in the background doing the point in the sky.
Yeah.
No, my honestly, one of my favorite parts about all that was the camera shots to the crowd and the kids with their faces
Crying.
buried in their parents' chests, just crying their eyes out. I felt like it was
That's heat.
1997.
That's
Yeah.
heat.
It looks good.
Hardcore
That's
attitude.
serious heat.
And just think, all of this momentum, if the Sasha Banks and Naomi thing comes to fruition, and we're seeing the success of Cody Rhodes bringing back a traditional grounded style, and they're building Cody like this. Cody's got a countdown clock where they promo through Raw when he's going to be on Raw. A lot like how at the top of the hour before in the 90s for Austin, they tell you at the top of the hour, Austin will be here if it's 8 o'clock. Austin will be here at 9 o'clock.
Once Austin kicks off the war zone,
Yep.
is what they used to
Yeah.
say.
Like it's getting to be a thing. Like they're positioning their stars in such a way that like you're tuning in and you're watching.
And I'm telling you right now, and I like AEW. Don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of all wrestling. I'll watch anything. When we used to room together, I had a Spanish-speaking channel that we couldn't understand anything, but we watched.
But every Saturday and Sunday, we would watch like 6 hours of AAA, 4 hours of CMLL.
But
The next day, we watch Monday.
AEW and Impact and all those places don't build their stars like WWE. You can
Well,
claim.
I can say this, though. If you watch AEW, they build their hours, too. For instance,
They
last
do.
week, the week before last, CM Punk opened up with his match against whoever the hell was it, John Silver?
I think so.
At the top of the hour to promo for the rest of the show. The following week, Adam Page wrestled
Oh, here we go. That question.
Takshita.
He is the only shirt available up at the desk. That's actually been mentioned. It was just a happy coincidence. CM Punk had mentioned the reason he was wearing the Stone Cold Steve Austin t-shirt is because he couldn't get to the back fast enough to change, and he didn't have one with him.
Yeah.
And he went up to the table where they were selling t-shirts, and it was the only one he liked was the Stone Cold Steve Austin t-shirt. That's why he put it on. There was no hubbub about it. It wasn't a set thing. It was just a shirt that they had laying around that just happened to be his size.
Yeah.
That's why
That's
the
why
Stone
he was
Cold
wearing
shirt
Stone
was
Cold
worn.
shirt. But back to the topic of AEW, they build their shows. At the top of the hour, you're going to see one of your top acts. They've done it with MJF and Wardlow.
That's not what I meant. What I meant was like you were saying, they got a countdown clock for
Yeah, for Cody.
Rhodes.
You know when Cody's
They don't
gonna be
do
on
that
TV.
on AEW.
No.
Where CM Punk will be out here in 20 minutes.
Yeah,
they don't
no.
do that.
Well, they do like promos where they'll tell you what's coming. You know, we're going to hear from CM Punk tonight. We're going to hear from MJF tonight. We're going to hear from Jericho tonight, blah, blah, blah. They do that, but absolutely nothing compared to what the WWE's doing. You know you're going to see Roman in the main event on SmackDown. You might not see him on Raw, but you know Roman or the Usos or one version of Bloodline is always going to be in the main event on SmackDown.
Oldest wrestling shirt I have, red and black, original NWO Wolfpack.
I still have my black and
I
white
wish I had
NWO t-shirt
Yeah.
in a box, autographed by Kevin Nash because I saw him in a Walmart. True story. I thought he was my dad.
Yeah, that's the oldest one I have.
Because I was like 6 years old.
I can see
You
that.
can totally see that, right?
Totally see
Back
it.
when Mr. T had the long hair too. Trust me.
Don't drink, don't smoke.
All right. Well, let me get into one more bit of the news here before we move on.
Remember to be thinking of your questions because we're going to hit those questions up after
end
the
of the show.
birthdays and
Yep.
bullshit segment.
So one of our big stories that dropped last week was that Conrad Thompson of the Conrad Podcast Network, as well as Ric Flair, Eric Bischoff, and Jeff Jarrett have been teasing the fact that they're going to go into business together. Well, earlier this week, they announced StarCast 5.
Yes.
In which Ric Flair, at 73 years old, is going to come out of retirement for one last match. It's poised to be in some sort of tag capacity Originally, it was slated to be him and a tag partner, I think, against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and a tag partner, or him and a tag team. And Ricky the Dragon Steamboat said, you know what? I left my career where it is. I think that it's best that I don't. Now, let's talk a little bit. Ric Flair's 73 years old. Should Rick be in the ring?
Yes.
No.
I don't care about your opinions whether or not Ric Flair should be in the ring. Why? Because he's Ric Flair. And if he wants to have one more match, you got two options. Watch it
No.
or don't. And if you're not going to watch it, shut up.
But here's my point with Ric Flair, and it's just
I'm
this.
gonna watch it, but I got to bitch the entire time.
Welcome to Why We Watch Wrestling Every Week.
We're tuned into Pro Wrestling Throwdown, I think.
We literally have a show every week
Here's
just
the
to
deal.
bitch
Here's
about
the
it.
deal. I understand Ricky
Fuck Joey
Steamboat's.
Janela.
Yeah, I'm giving more content.
Joey Ryan too.
Fuck Joey Ryan, too.
I have a list. I have a fucking
And Chuck
list.
Taylor, who might beat twice.
Anyway, so
Fuck you.
you did. You also made more money than
Twice.
at one point.
Maybe more money than
With
Ricochet.
the Flair thing, the thing with Ric Flair is very simple. Should he wrestle again? It's not the question of it is if it is should. The question is who.
Yeah.
Who's going to take him up on? Now here's the deal. People are backing out. I get Steamboat.
Yeah,
I get that.
Steamboat makes sense.
However, who wouldn't want to be Ric Flair's not only return but possibly his final match? Who wouldn't want to be Ric Flair's last match?
Here's the thing. They were talking about a possible six-man tag match, right?
Max will do it. He volunteered.
A six-man tag match or a tag match. So it would have been Rick and a younger heel against Ricky the Dragon and a younger baby.
I bet what it would have been a fucking Flair and Lethal versus Ricky and his boy.
You know what it should have been? Just on my own opinion. Since
You're very welcome.
Talk about
You're very welcome.
Since we can talk about what fantasy booking or whatever the hell, Ric Flair and MJF in a tag team.
In a tag team. I'm down.
Against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, which it can't be now. But Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and another young up-and-coming wrestler like maybe a Wheeler Yuta.
My tag team?
Right?
My tag team match
Sure.
kind of thing? I would like to see Ric Flair.
Yep.
And the Ricky Morton, the one that's still wrestling.
Yeah.
Against FTR.
Well, see, we've already done FTR versus the Rock and Roll.
I know.
But if you're doing a six-man tag style, that's when you get Ric Flair and FTR versus the Rock and Roll and insert babyface because no one gives a shit who it is.
Or you could get Ricky Morton a team with the Von Erichs against Flair.
Could you not just do Ricky Morton?
Fuck
and Ric
Sammy
Flair?
Guevara. That's terrible. What are you thinking?
Ricky Morton and Ric Flair.
Almost is going to win the Royal Rumble.
I mean, hell, Jerry Lawler's still taking bookies. Ric Flair and Jerry Lawler one more time.
Yes.
For your money.
Yes.
For your money in fucking Tennessee, booked under Crockett. Ric Flair, Ricky Morton one more time. Or the one that I'd really like to see, which they wouldn't do because I don't know that he'd agree to it, Ric Flair versus William Regal. Have Regal lace them boots up one more time.
I totally
Regal get in there and stretch that old man.
Or you have FTR and Flair versus
Regal
the
and
Fight
the
Club.
combo. Yeah, Regal and Moxley and Bryan. See, you can do it. Ric Flair doesn't have to get in there and bump and fly. And
Hold on, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm watching it right now. Hope y'all are jealous. Watching it right now in my head.
Flair and Aldis versus Cardona, whoever. That's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
Actually, I said Flair versus Cardona one-on-one. Because Cardona would work the way that Flair needs him to.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see it just because I'm a Ric Flair fan. And I don't care what if no one's, like we said off camera, if no one's bitching about the fact that Jerry Lawler's still working every single weekend, and not just working, Bubba Ray Dudley put him through a table like a month ago at an indie show. If Jerry Lawler's still going, Flair can do one more.
Also, I would like to point out, everyone who has seen the training video of Flair and Lethal in the ring,
Dude,
guy
still moving.
Ain't missed the fucking
Still
step.
moving. A little slower.
Well,
He's still moving.
He's 79 years old.
He's 100. He was 103 back in '85. So you know what kills me? I was thinking about this because for you that don't know, I'm currently doing a rewatch of Monday Night Nitro. That's what I do here in the studio at night. I throw my projector on. I'm rewatching old Nitros. The WWE ran a litany of programs, right, in 95, 96, No, it was actually 97, 98.
Yeah.
When Flair, Piper, and Hogan were all in the main event. They called, the Piper-Hogan match, the Age in a Cage. All of those guys at that time were still only in their 40s.
Yeah.
Undertaker wrestled the match up to the time that he was 58.
Yeah.
CM Punk is currently 43 years old and is in the main event for a world title match next weekend.
Age ain't got nothing to do with it.
And it just caught me off guard because when Flair lost to Michaels, he was like, what, 55, 56?
Well, and here's a controversial statement from me.
Let's hear one.
I like these. Here's the deal. Ric Flair coming out of retirement for me is great.
Yeah.
But I'm that way. I'm a nostalgic pop. You can pop me with nostalgia because here's the deal. If Hulk Hogan come out tomorrow and said that he was going to come back for one more match, the internet wrestling fans would shit all over it. However, they'd still watch.
Yeah.
Because it's Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
It's Ric Flair. It's Ricky Steamboat. It doesn't matter.
If you're a wrestling fan, just for a second, keep in mind that Ric Flair dedicated his life to the business. Despite crucify me if you want to, but I just can't stand the man. Good.
That's
You're
his
not
job.
supposed to.
That's his job.
Yeah.
He's good at what he does.
I like MJF because he's so good at this job, but I'm also a bad guy and I love bad guys.
Me too.
Like MJF. If anybody watches other than the sheer
Thank you for the like.
of it, like other than the sheer purpose of enjoying his work, it's like The Miz. You're not supposed to like The Miz. One of my favorite things is my wife hates The Miz. I was a professional wrestler. My wife knows the business. Still hates watching The Miz wrestle to this day. And I explain to her all the time, honey, it's a it's a work. Know what it is. Still to this day.
You know why MJF's so good?
Because you believe him.
He never drops character.
Nope. And you believe that he's an asshole. You believe that he's a Northeastern prick who came from a family of wealth, who's athletically gifted, and uses all of those gifts against you.
The best part about it is, though, his family is not insanely wealthy. His mom and dad are at AEW all the time, and they're like the less wealtty people you ever meet.
Well,
in your fucking life. Compared to what he puts on.
Yeah, no, they have some money.
His mom coming to shows with signs that say, "I hate my prick son."
His mom has a Twitter account where she constantly just tweets about how much of a dickhead he is. It's fantastic. Yeah. She's also on Busted Open all the time. Cheap plug for SiriusXM. If you don't have Sirius, they do, like I said, they do a 3-hour radio show every single day, Monday through Friday, and they got a Monday through Saturday and a Sunday podcast. Check it out; it's fantastic.
Wardlow Berg is going to destroy MJF.
I wouldn't say Wardlow Berg. I would say Dave Wardlow.
Dave Wardlow.
Dave Wardlow, because this is the Batista build all over. However, before we get into the birthdays and bullshit, Wardlow taking those fucking strap shots.
Ooh, buddy,
did not flinch, didn't move, didn't close his eyes when one of them hit. He looked dead into the camera, stood there, and MJF uses a real belt, even if it's a cloth belt. If I hit you as hard as I can with it, it's going to sting. For Wardlow to take 10 of them in a row and just shake it off, that motherfucker's double tough in real life. Because again, even if it's a work or whatever it is, he didn't.
Wardlow took those 10 lashes like a fucking champion.
Like, I was watching it, and like I was waiting, because Cody sold every one, but that was Cody's deal. Cody was going to sell every one.
But that's the point. That's the difference. That's what makes them both
But if you
separate.
remember, like, if the Sandman would have rocked Batista with a Singapore cane, he'd have registered it. Maybe not fully sold it, but he'd have registered. He'd have moved and then did the bow up and turn around.
You're going to the Tommy Dreamer caning incident.
Exactly. Well, that was the recreation with Cody Rhodes.
But you see what I'm saying, though. He was teeing the fuck
off.
But
for Wardlow not even to move, I was watching and I was like, God damn, like that dude, you have to shoot him in real life.
John,
you have to shoot him.
John, I'm sorry, but you also said that Omos was going to win the Royal Rumble, and I'm never going to let you live that down.
Yeah, we all knew that Wardlow was going to be a star 8 months ago when we started talking about this. Where were you? You weren't watching live, and you weren't subscribed. And if you aren't subscribed, you don't get to participate in the chat next week. So make sure you subscribe right here, right now. Because next week, if you ain't subscribing, you ain't chitty chatting. And if you aren't subscribed, you can find out how to subscribe. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ProWrestlingThrowdown. You can follow us on Twitter at ProWrestlingTD. You can send us an email at ProWrestlingThrowdown@gmail.com. All right. We've covered the biggest news in the business. We've covered some of the fun stuff. We've covered some of the not so fun stuff. We're an hour into the show, and I think it's time.
Also, remember, before it's that time, afterwards, after what time it is,
5 questions.
5 questions. Get them ready.
All right, so it's that time. It's time for birthdays.
Bullshit.
Max, take it away.
I'm going to beat you.
You are not going to beat me. I'm like
I'm going to beat you
I'm
like
a 2-week
MJF,
winning streak, motherfucker.
and your name's Cody Rhodes.
You ain't coming around here no how. What I'm gonna go next door and make more money?
You have better chances of beating me today than Almost has winning the Royal Rumble.
Wow. Listen to you.
We got just a couple small handfuls of birthdays. Let's get into it.
Let's hear it.
Today, we remember the great Brian Pillman.
Flying
Brian
Brian.
Pillman.
1962, 1997.
Flying Brian got his name for being able to dive, being so small that he could dive literally over the line as a Cincinnati Bengal, and he got the name Flying Brian from his agility of jumping over the line for a quarterback.
Was one half of the Hollywood Blondes with Stone Cold Steve Austin in WCW, and
First professional wrestler to brandish a gun on national television.
was the first featured contest of the rebrand of WCW Nitro against Juice and Thunder Liger.
Yes. For the light heavyweight championship.
And was the only guy in professional wrestling history who got paid by WCW, the WWF, and ECW simultaneously.
All at the same time.
Motherfucker was cashing checks.
He was CM Punk before CM Punk was CM Punk.
He was CM Punk before CM Punk thought about being CM Punk.
And with the birthday today
All right.
is Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan's 44 years old.
Daniel Bryan is 43 years old.
Daniel Bryan is 42 years old.
Ah!
Happy birthday, Daniel Bryan. Bryan Danielson, or what? I don't know.
Hold on. Tomorrow is Bethany's 2-year wedding anniversary.
A happy anniversary.
We have to send one of our. Bethany has been one of our longest fans here. She was one of our very first fans, one of our very first subscribers. She's tuned into nearly every single episode we've done.
She's also very big in our comments section.
She's one of my favorite people. We talk every day. We've met in the theater community. We love Bethany. Thank you for your support. And Bethany, from us to you,
Congratulations.
happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Fuck off, we're working.
I'm
kidding.
no, seriously.
Tomorrow,
Shut up.
tomorrow, birthday is 23rd. We have Alex Shelley.
Ooh. Shelly's in his 40s.
Yeah. 41.
42, because I think he's a little
39.
Oh,
fucking
so
serious?
close.
39 tomorrow.
So
Hold on. If Alex Shelley is 39 tomorrow, that means he debuted in Impact when he was 19 or 20 years old.
Wow.
17 years ago.
Yeah. That's crazy. Almost a 20-year vet.
Hold on, because they debuted. I think he was part of the original launch in 2002. So that would have been exactly 19 or 20 fucking years old.
Yeah.
That's
insane.
Nuts. Well, happy birthday to him, because he looks like $1 million.
I love Alex Shelley.
Also, a happy birthday to Bray Wyatt.
Ooh, Mr. Rotunda.
I want to say early 40s because I feel like he's been.
I'm going to go with 39.
40.
How about 35?
God!
How is he 35? He was Husky
I
Harrison.
know.
Damn it!
He will be 35 years old.
He was brought in by the NXT promotion, though, too.
Even then, he would have been 20 when he did that.
Yeah. Well,
fuck this game.
Think about the way you looked, though, back then. It fits.
He was kind of a baby face.
Yeah.
Well, how about on the 25th? Alberto Del Rio.
Oof.
In trouble again.
Bad guy. Bad guy, Del Rio.
He's just terrible. 48.
I want to say he's in his 40s, but I might be fucking wrong again.
48.
41.
45. Good call.
Hot damn! Had to get one on the board.
That's what he said to Paige.
Along with. You ready?
I'm ready. Go ahead.
You're a bad person. You're a bad person. Damn it. Go ahead.
I know.
We don't agree to that. We don't agree with that.
Legion's birthday on the 25th with
Neither did Paige.
your head of the table and your tribal chief, Roman Reigns.
37?
36.
Thought he was already 36. I'm going to say 37. I'm sticking to my guns here.
37 on the nose.
That's what I
say. I know he's a lot younger than people think he is.
He's only a couple years younger than you.
How old is he? 37, you said?
37.
2 years younger than me.
Then on the 27th.
John, you're really off on a lot
Yeah,
of
because
these.
you'll be 39 this year.
Yes.
On the
You're the
27th,
same age as Doc
Are you ready?
Guys.
Yes.
On the 27th, we have Eric Bischoff and Natalia.
Okay, we'll go Bischoff first.
Bischoff 60.
Bischoff is 61.
Bischoff is 67. Point Luke.
Fuck you.
67?
He will be
Yeah.
67 years old.
Wow.
I thought he just turned 60.
Natalia. She's been in the business longer than
Natty
people think.
Neidhart.
44.
43.
How about 40 on the nose?
Ooh.
40? Wow.
That
Good
makes
for-
sense.
good
Of this.
for Natty.
Canadians, they tend to age differently.
Except for Edge.
and Yanni.
Because he look.
He ain't here. I can say what I want.
On the 28th,
Fucking Canard.
Uh-huh.
we remember the great Kamala, 1950 to 2020.
The real Kamala, not
Yeah,
JR.
lost him 2 years ago.
And then our last wrestling birthday, Seth freaking Rollins.
Ooh,
37.
30. That's what I was going to say. I'm going to say 36. Just
36 on the news.
Nice! fuck you.
It's a close run today. What are we at?
We're at 3-1.
Okay.
Caleb's lead going into
Close
celebrity
my
birthdays.
ass.
Never means
We got-
anything to those last birthdays.
We got a couple small handfuls here, so let's see what we can do.
All right, let's do it.
All right, on the 23rd, tomorrow, Drew Carey.
Hall of Famer. WWE Hall of Fame. Drew Carey.
Right.
Former Marine.
Yes.
And
Also,
current host of
Glasses, completely fake.
current host of The Price is Right.
Yes.
He's
He's up
older
there.
than people think he is. I wanna say-
56.
See, I'm going to say right around 60. 60 is my guess.
Well, 64
Yep.
is what he will be.
Man, I remember the Drew Carey show.
Happy birthday to Drew Carey. I love the Drew
Oh,
Carey.
me too.
Where Ryan Styles got to start.
Yeah.
Diedrich Bader.
Yeah.
Uh,
The talk show host. That was
Craig
the-
Ferguson.
Craig Ferguson, yeah.
We
he
just had a
was
birthday
fantastic.
last week.
He's fantastic.
My favorite thing about the Drew Carey show was that they opened up a brewery in their garage. And goddamn,
Yeah.
if that ain't the life I want to lead.
Right? That's just perfect. See, on the 24th, we have the few, starting with John C. Riley.
Oh my
Fucking love him.
53?
God.
I guess.
54.
57
Okay,
point
yeah.
lose.
I was actually going to say
I didn't-
56.
I didn't
but
know
went
how
with
old he
54.
was.
Cool.
He's
He's up there.
Another great comedian.
Samsonite. I was way off.
Another great comedian on the 24th. Tommy Chong.
Tommy fucking Chong.
He's got to be in his 70s, right?
He is, for sure. 78 years old.
I'm going to say a little younger just for differentials, 73.
How about he will be 84 years old?
That tracks. He was old
And
back
still alive, smoking
Wait,
pot
wait.
with Willie.
That's
Yep.
right.
What are we up? We're tied now, right?
Speaking of Willie, I know a good buddy of his,
Max?
Mr. Bob Dylan.
We're tied now, right?
Yes.
then. Bob Dylan, 80. It's got to be.
70?
How about 81?
81.
Yeah, he's got to be.
You took the lead. Look at you.
No, actually, now you're tied.
Musicians.
Oh, now we're tied. Okay.
Yeah.
Musicians.
Now you're tied.
That's fair.
Kind of my thing.
When are you going to
See,
get good at it?
last one-
I ain't got to be
last
good
one
at it.
on
I just got to
the
fake it.
24th would be Priscilla Presley.
Ooh.
Who?
Priscilla Presley. Elvis Presley's daughter.
Okay.
One that dated Michael Jackson, kind of.
Did they get married?
No.
Don't they have a kid together?
Actually, you know what? I think they do. I think they did get married. At one
I'm
point.
sure they got married.
That's how he
I
became
didn't
King
look
Kong.
up that much information.
She'd have to be close to her 60s now, I'd imagine.
I'm going to say 68 years old.
I'll say 60, a little younger.
How about she will be 77
Yep.
years old?
Son of a bitch.
Point goes to
Luke.
Luke.
Sorry, Priscilla was his wife, not his daughter.
Yeah, see, I
Yeah.
was way wrong. I
Yeah.
didn't even have the fair.
That's what Bethany
Thank you,
said.
Bethany.
Yes.
You rock.
Lisa Marie was Elvis's
Yeah,
daughter.
thank
Yes,
you. Yeah,
yes.
see,
Yes,
that's why.
okay, that's
why it
where
didn't
I
make
was-
sense to
yeah.
me. You set me up to fail.
I still got the birthday win, though, right?
You did.
On the 25th, you've got like 5 or 6.
All right,
I
let's hear it.
honestly didn't know the difference, to be honest with you.
We're going to start with Ian McKellen.
You
Mr. Magneto.
76 years old.
78.
How about 77 years
70s.
old?
Yeah.
What, Luke?
Was
Caleb?
Caleb, yeah.
All right. Right back up. 5-5.
Of course.
How about Mike Myers?
Ooh, he's older than you think.
Wears a white mask, kills
Not
people
that
with a
Mike
knife.
Myers.
Oh,
different.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh.
no, that's Michael Myers.
Yeah.
I gotta say he'd be in his 60s by
He
now,
has to
right?
be. He has to be 65.
61.
How about 59?
Wow, still a little younger. Good for Mike Myers.
No point.
Lisa Marie is married to was married to Michael Jackson for about 2 years, and then she also married Nick Cage. That is correct.
Talk about bad taste in men twice.
Nick Cage only married her because he's a giant Elvis fan.
Wonder which
He is,
personality,
too. That's legit.
personality she married.
Hope she married the Ghost Rider.
Castor Troy. Face Off. That's the one.
You mean
she
they're
married.
going to take their face off? Like in Face Off?
Let's see.
Also, if you haven't seen Face Off real quick, John Travolta's greatest performance ever because he played Nicolas Cage to a fucking T.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
better than Nicolas Cage.
Yeah,
does.
one of my favorite roles ever.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. 2 more on the 25th. We've got Jamie Kennedy,
The comedian.
Malibu's
Yeah.
Most Wanted.
I want to say he was in his late 20s or early 30s when that came out.
45.
I'm saying a little older. 50.
How about 52?
Nice, good one.
Caleb takes the lead by 1. Also, the last one on the 25th will be Octavia Spencer.
Is that a singer?
No, she's that from The Help.
You ate my shit pie. The
Yeah.
black one.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. She's hilarious.
50. Just as a guess, because I really couldn't.
51.
How about she will be 52 years old?
52.
Tied it back up.
6-6.
She's also, if you've never seen the movie where she invites the kids over to drink and party at her house,
Yeah,
and
I
then
haven't
she
seen
takes
that.
their
That
phones
just came
and
out a
shit.
little while ago, right?
But last year, and let me tell you, dude, bone chilling.
I've not seen it yet.
She's amazing.
She's great.
She
in
is
everything,
amazing.
I
She is amazing. I can't. Mama, I think is what the name of the movie was
Yeah.
called. Watch it. If you ain't watched it, if that's not the title, you know what I'm talking about. Search it. Fantastic.
Check it out.
Okay, see, on the 26th, we got about 4 here. We're going to start out with Helena Bonham Carter,
Ooh.
Beatrix Lestrange.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp's
Bellatrix
not
Lestrange.
common law wife.
Is that what I said?
He said Beatrix.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
You're right.
She's also in Fight Club, one of her greatest roles
Oh
ever.
man,
Oh, yeah.
I gotta say,
yeah.
she's
50s at least.
55.
I'm gonna go 56.
How about 56 on the nose?
Damn.
Yeah, she looks damn good for her.
She's
Oh,
always
yeah,
looked damn
she
good.
looks great.
Bellatrix Lestrange is why all of my relationships have gone the way they have. 1,000%. Not even denying it.
Also on the 26th,
can't say
one of our
Where did you know where
viewers
penis thing was?
Oh, one of our viewers.
and your girlfriend, Tanya. Happy
Hey.
birthday, Tanya.
Happy birthday.
She's going to turn 29 again, I believe.
I was going to say 25, but I mean,
Oh,
you
well,
know.
if that's what it is. Okay, I'm
She's
not
old
wrong.
as fuck.
I didn't say that. I didn't fucking
She's
say that.
old as fuck. She's older than
That's your
Hold
husband.
on, wait a
by
minute.
the
Wait a
way,
minute.
Tanya,
Incoming
that you
phone
meant to
call
say
in
that.
3, 2. No, I'm kidding.
I am not
Tanya-
commenting.
Tanya is very happy to share her birthday with the great Stevie Nicks.
Ooh.
Stevie Nicks is 78 years old.
Is she that old?
I can't tell you.
68, just to give a 10-year differential.
How about 74?
Oh, God
Hot
damn it. I
damn.
was so close.
I didn't think she was quite 78 yet. I didn't think she was
That's
quite
point
70.
to me,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Yeah,
point to me. I
that's
didn't
point
think she
to
was
him.
quite 74 yet, to be honest. Man, she ages gracefully, doesn't
Yeah,
she?
she does. Yeah, she does.
2 more. On
The coolest thing
26.
about her is that she wrote a song about her ex-husband and made him play the guitar riff for it in their band.
Right?
Like that is a dick the size of Gibraltar.
You're a cheap motherfucker. Play that guitar, bitch.
Play it.
Yeah.
Let me play it so I sign your check.
2 more on the 26.
All right. What are we at? Tied?
You are tied at 7. We have 4
Wow.
altogether left.
Okay.
All right.
Starting with, on the 26th, Bobcat Goldthwait.
Bobcat Goldthwait.
Right. Yeah.
You know who that is, right?
No.
That's the dude from Police Academy.
The voice guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
75.
76.
How about 60?
Oh, wow. He's younger than I thought he was.
A lot younger than he's.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait.
that's about right. He was pretty young.
When did
then.
wait,
Yeah.
hold on. When did Police Academy come out?
1986.
That seems right.
It makes sense.
He would have been like
Did you know
20 years
He
old.
was-
Wow.
yeah.
he is the
that.
only star in Hollywood or in any facet to be banned from not only the Tonight Show, the Late Show, the Late Late Show, and the Today Show for setting David Letterman's stage on fire on national television.
Yeah.
He's the only person to ever be banned from live talk shows. Bobcat Goldthwait. He's also a hell of a director.
No, I didn't know he was.
Yep, he's the only
Can-
one banned from
That's
all
okay.
of them.
So that's the second most notorious episode in David Letterman history. Can you name the first?
Would that be when Madonna showed her titties?
Nope.
Or Drew Barrymore, rather?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Oh, would it be Andy Kaufman getting the shit slapped out of him?
Yep.
There you go.
Andy Kaufman got his shit rocked by Jerry Lawler, which was
Well,
Andy
I
Kaufman's
do remember Drew Barrymore's striptease, though. to
Yes.
David
Well, she
Letterman
just
for his
hopped on the
birthday.
desk and
Yeah,
raised it.
she did.
But
Well-
Andy Kaufman propped the idea that he slapped them because the original idea was that Kaufman and Lawler had to apologize to each other and then hug it out, and then Andy Kaufman would sing "We Are the World." And Andy Kaufman late that night called Lawler in his hotel room and was like, "What do you think?" And Lawler was like, "That'll be fine. But just so you know, once we kiss and make up, we can't have the return match in Memphis," which was where they were supposed to be building their feud to.
Mhm.
And so they agreed to do it, whatever. And the interview went 2 segments long. And finally, at the end, right before they were tying up, is when Lawler just decided, because it was Kaufman's idea. Kaufman was like, "Wouldn't it be great if you just socked the shit out of me on live TV?" And Lawler was like, "Yeah, but then they'll arrest me, and I got to be in Memphis tomorrow. I can't do that." And Kaufman's like, "Yeah, I understand. But wouldn't that be great?" And Lawler's like, "Yeah, but we can't do that." So they go to the segment, whatever. Kaufman keeps talking all this shit to Lawler, and Lawler finally just decides before the segment ends, I have to hit him. One of the best lines Letterman ever had was the guy that he took over the show from was named Tim Sharp.
Yes.
And after Lawler hit him when they came back from commercial, David Letterman looks at the camera and goes, "Well, if you're just coming back, I'm still here. Andy Kaufman's sort of still here. Jerry Lawler's still here. And sometimes I wish Tim was still here."
Yep. And
that's
then
what-
he come out. He's like, "I'm gonna sue you. I'm sorry.
So
I'm
in the
sorry."
commercial
Yeah.
break, in the commercial break, they asked Andy Kaufman if he wants to come back on, and Kaufman's like, "No, if I do that, I'm going to say words that you can't say on TV." Kaufman, completely protecting the wrestling business, had no reason to. So David Letterman's like, "Fine." They walk him off stage. If you come back to the live feed of that show, Kaufman comes over David Letterman's shoulder, gets on his desk, and is like, "I'm going to fucking sue you, Lawler. I'm going to fucking sue you. This is bullshit." Just starts spouting all these obscenities. And it was like 6 months later when they got the Nielsen reports, because back then they were wired in at 6 months or 6 weeks at a time. David Letterman admits and says to this day, that episode is what put David Letterman on the map.
He also
Was professional wrestling.
He also took David Letterman's cup of water that he had on his desk and flung it at Lawler before
Yep.
he ran off stage. Oh yeah, greatest
Sorry to
work.
break that up,
No,
but because it
no.
transitioned back to wrestling, we had to talk about it.
All right, we got one more on the 26th.
All
All right,
right.
let's hear it.
Where are we at?
Where are we? I think you're
Tied at 7. We got 2 more after.
tied
this.
at 7.
Tied at
Okay.
7, 2 more after this one.
All right. Great. Lenny Kravitz.
Ooh, 59.
I'm gonna go cool 60.
How about 58 years old?
Wow, we
Damn.
so
Happy
close.
So
birthday
close.
to Lenny.
We're gonna end
Kravitz,
this in a
man.
fucking tie. You realize that,
Probably.
right?
But then Max says to create a tiebreaker.
All right, last 2 on the 27th.
Oh, we got 2 left.
We're going to start with the young Commissioner Gordon, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
40?
See what I did there?
I'm going to say 40. I'm going to say 41.
I'm gonna say
He was a child star. Don't forget.
I know. Give me a second. 43.
How about 42?
Nailed it. John had that one
He
too.
was up by 1 last birthday.
So this is my shot.
Come on, baby.
Lily Rose Depp.
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp's daughter.
29.
28.
How about 23?
Woo! Good job.
Woo! Caleb wins by 1.
Woo! Woo! Now, they thought the show went off the rail earlier.
Hello, Gizmo.
Are we ready for some bullshit?
Let's give us some bullshit. Now, remember.
As if that wasn't what this entire episode was already.
That wasn't what this entire fucking
Right.
stream's about. Yeah, remember, after the bullshit
Hey, do
segment,
that
we're
on
going to
the
do
restroom.
some questions. Be sure to write your questions down in the chat here.
Plug the socials.
While he's taking a second, I want to remind you, thank you for liking and subscribing and all of your input. During next week's show, unless you're a subscriber, you cannot participate in the live chat. Easy way to do that. There is a subscribe button. Please click it. We appreciate your views. Also, hammer that like button. Likes and views and duration and all that is very important to us content creators because it's how we feed the next week's show. The more positive we can get, more things we can get from YouTube, more stuff we can start giving to you guys. Contests, swag, polls, questions, Q&As, anything we can do to make the content better and for you guys to have a more enjoyable experience. Please, there's also ways you can also join us off YouTube. Please go find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Pro Wrestling Throwdown. Leave a like and a follow. Leave a comment on there. We are constantly checking Facebook. You can also reach us at Pro Wrestling TD on Twitter. You can send us an email at prowrestlingthrowdown@gmail.com. Also, we are very responsive to anything that's sent to us. But remember, next week, you have to be a subscriber. Woo! I literally felt your spit on my lip. Hold on, wait a minute. All right. Be sure to join us. Be sure to join us on all facets. Show's going to start looking prettier. Going to be some new stuff. We're going to add some stuff, free swag, quizzes, you name it, contests. That's what we want to go. We want to do what we can for you guys as your loyal subscribers. We want to be loyal to the subscribers.
Yes.
So please enjoy yourself. We hope you enjoy the show. Now on to the bullshit.
All right. We're going to start out with a pretty good one here.
These are headlines, correct?
Yes.
Every one of these headlines are 100% real.
This one is actually it's a news story that I reached back to find.
Okay.
It's from Caleb won't remember it because it was the year he was born.
Gotcha.
The year in our Lord, 1990.
In 1990,
September 5th, God's
a
gift to
woman
was
cut
born.
off her husband's penis and threw it out the car window.
John Bobbitt.
So say that's Lorena Bobbitt, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
You want to tell that story?
I
I
will.
know you enjoy that.
Well, here's the deal. He was cheating. He got his dick cut off in his sleep, woke up. She had taken it in the car and threw it out the window three blocks down the road. Now, the way that pertains to professional wrestling and this show, because we like to add things to professional wrestling, is there was a story with a Japanese group named Kaientai who had a problem with Val Venus because Val Venus was screwing around with their manager's wife.
I thought it was his daughter.
It was his wife.
Was it wife?
At one point, they had him tied up in the locker room with a giant sword. He said he was going to chop his pee-pee. You remember this? Anyone remember this? Went up, lights went out. The very next week, they said that he was rescued in the nick of time with the lights being turned out by who? And who does Val Venus bring out? But John Bobbitt.
John Bobbitt. Yeah.
Therefore, John Bobbitt and his story is professional wrestling.
Oh, my God.
That's right. There was even a whole song inspired from the song in The Lion Sleeps Tonight. You know, in the jungle, the mighty jungle. Yeah, the whole song, the wiener whack, the wiener whack, the wiener whack. You remember that? You remember it?
Did you come up with that on your own?
No,
I've heard it.
Oh, God. No.
I was going to say, that's one of the most clever things
Yeah.
you've
Oh,
ever
wait,
thought of.
wait. Before we get flagged or anything, we don't own the rights to those lyrics.
Ridiculous.
Oh, Oh yeah.
Less
Oh, yeah.
ridiculous, actually.
He needed to be more ridiculous, but anyway.
God, my wife's
But
paying.
yeah, hey, if people don't believe that the wrestling is a carny act, just look at that segment
Right.
alone.
All
She's
right.
lucky it wasn't a real carnival act. She would have ate it afterwards.
Oh Lord!
You're welcome.
let's see.
You're
All of a
fucking
sudden,
welcome.
Ozzy Osbourne got real confused on stage.
I knew he was a Black Sabbath fan. Oh, airball.
Ozzy Osbourne arrested for violently filleting bat.
Bat responds on page 3.
Oh, we're going to hell.
All right.
Oh,
Let's see. I went through the internet and found some just see what I can find. Some odd shit.
Sure.
Some of his headlines. Some of his.
yeah, because that wasn't odd enough.
enough.
A wiener whack,
No,
a
see,
wiener whack.
here.
Ozzy blowing a vampire didn't do
The
it.
ad in the newspaper.
Uh-huh.
Plotting your life. Spotted in the classifieds. For sale. Cemetery plot. $200. So I don't have to spend the rest of eternity beside my ex.
How much was it?
$200.
$200.
They take PayPal or?
Let's see.
Well, let's be fair.
Cash here. It's not quite 200.
Love you.
I wonder if he
just
would take a
don't want to
15%.
spend eternity with you.
I wonder if he would take a 15%
John,
cut.
we'll get to the questions as soon as we're done with this segment, buddy.
Let's see. A few months ago, Hamas arrested a dolphin for being an Israeli spy.
That's not even geography. How do you say that?
How,
Geographically.
Thank you. Correct at all.
a dolphin,
Just like I wasn't grammatically correct right
How
there.
can your dolphin be an Israeli? I don't get that one. Though. See, another one from the classifieds here. Let's see. Now hiring. Read the classifieds. Cemetery superintendent. The ideal candidate must be able to supervise in a fast-paced environment.
Well,
There's troops in that.
And the cemetery.
how fast paced does it get?
Right?
Oh, well, where is he stationed? Overseas? How does that work?
We need you to move that headstone.
I thought you were going to say job title includes first heartbeat.
Must not be irrationally afraid of ghosts.
Can't be squeamish around dead bodies. Sir, where is that guy buried? I don't know. I don't leave the building. It's fucking haunted here. You don't hear that shit?
I just leave it up to the relatives.
Cut grass, man.
Let's see.
Terrible, by the way.
Terrible.
Quote
Just
from
terrible.
a news headline. Quote, I thought he was going to kill me. One woman's harrowing misunderstanding of how a haircut works.
Oh my God. Could you imagine the barber, the lady walks in and says, what are you doing with those scissors? The fuck you doing with those scissors, man?
She came in for a trip. All right.
All right, there's one more here.
One more.
Just one more here. Stolen prosthetic arm discovered in secondhand shop.
That's the winner. That's got to be the winner for
From
the
the
week.
Daily Echo in England.
The Daily Echo.
Was she getting a
That's
haircut
a
from
different-
Sweeney Todd? I mean, if she was, that would make sense.
All right, guys, we got time to field 5 questions from each of y'all. Hope you've got some prepared. John's asked a couple, so we'll answer those while you guys prepare your next
Hold
5
on.
because this segment just
Do
ended.
you want that question asked, or do you want to ask another one? Because you'll only get one. John
Yep.
is one per person.
Yep.
So if that's not the one you want to ask
You
another
best
one.
think about it, motherfucker.
Also, don't forget
To like and subscribe.
If you have a wrestling show in your neighborhood,
Go.
go.
Check out live wrestling, man.
Yeah.
Keep the dream alive. We
Yeah.
might be there. You don't know.
Yeah,
You
you
know what I'm
never know.
doing.
As a matter of fact, I think of an indie show that I can think of that we will be at.
Well, we're going to be at Anna Fight Underground / AFU Hardcore coming up June 30th at Anna Illinois at Quick Skating Rink.
Choke point.
Choke point. This is going to be one of our best shows yet. We cannot divulge too much. One of the matches that have already been announced is going to be Mikey versus Sean Campbell. We've also got Billy Starks versus John Wayne Murdoch.
And Dalton Diamond lays down the challenge for an open challenge for the AFU Hardcore Heavyweight Championship.
So make sure you check it out, dog, because
if you get there early. Come up to the table. Say hi.
All right, well, since we haven't heard anything back, I'm going to go ahead and answer John's question here. Caleb, who was your favorite yard match? I have two. That is a tie. Number one is myself as the Monster Eclipse versus our young Max Fury here, in which, well, I tried to kill him.
You came close.
They did try to kill him.
Tried to kill him. The other match in the yard would be the tag match with me and Jay Spade versus you and Power Play for the RCW tag titles, in which me and Jay Spade won.
Mm-hmm. When I turned on my opponent.
My
partner, rather.
No, you didn't turn on him. I let him lock the belt up. Yeah. No, those are my two matches. All right.
Okay, go ahead and take that John's question. That first one didn't count because we didn't see that pop up. This is real quick.
John Wagner asks, okay, my real question is, will we ever see you in the ring again, Caleb? Be honest. Here's what I'm going to say to that. Next question.
Actually, there is actual hope for him, and the only way that can happen
is if we hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the... No, I'll tell you honestly, and I'll tell you truthfully. I have been considering it. I've been working out. I've been training again. It's just got to be the right time, the right situation. I would love to get back in the wrestling ring, but one of my primary concerns is my heart. For those of you that may not be aware, I've got a congenital heart condition that sidelined me a lot last year. I've got a microchip here in my chest that monitors my heartbeat. If I can get cleared medically and if I'm in shape, absolutely, I'd love to do a small tour where I work 3 or 4 matches. But to be totally honest, I don't know, because I don't know if that time is ever going to come or if the right situation is going to come. That's where I'll leave that. So,
small grin chart.
Hey, at least they proved I got one.
Which means several ex-girlfriends
owe me an apology.
Yeah.
Wolfie said he'll be an Anna.
Nice.
Come up to the table. Say hi.
All right,
That's
guys.
right, Tanya. Small grid chart.
We have 4 more questions.
Throw them out. Any kind of question.
4 questions. Wrestling related.
Bethany, you need to find something better to believe in.
I was about to say, Roman Reigns is a good thing to believe in.
Hey, fuck you, pal.
Believe that.
I'll get in shape just to beat. I have to get in shape to beat your ass again. Hey, John, you know what? While we're waiting on the 4 real questions you asked earlier, who's the toughest yard opponent? Me, motherfucker.
What was it?
John asked somewhere up here. Hold on. Who's the toughest guy? Who's the toughest yard guy you ever faced? The answer's always going to be me.
Toughest yard guy I ever faced? Power Play. Even in wrestling, everything that boy did hurt.
Yeah.
Every fucking thing hurt.
I'll tell you what. The tag match we were just talking
Yeah.
about, when he super kicked me at the same time that I side kicked him and we both got black eyes out of it, was one of my favorite spots ever because we didn't even plan it.
I know you took a picture with us at the Grudge. Take a picture with us at Choke Point, man.
And ask us questions. We got 4 more. Come on, y'all. Ask us wrestling questions. Come on. 4 questions. 4 questions. John.
Seriously, though.
John.
Seriously. Seriously, though, John. Seriously.
John, a big titty brunette named Kelly took me to my limit.
I know who Kelly is.
I should not have said that. It's a joke, y'all.
Here we go.
I'm sorry.
Ghostly Nightmare Rice, my question is, do you think The Undertaker should have lost his streak to Sting instead of Brock Lesnar 100%?
No.
I would prefer to have saw it that way.
No.
Technically, he should have lost the streak to somebody who could have got the rub.
Number 1, Taker's streak wasn't meant to end that year, regardless of what anyone says. Number 2, Brock Lesnar, if it had to end, Brock Lesnar was the right choice. The reason being is Brock Lesnar is the most legitimate professional wrestler in the business. The Undertaker, while a badass in real life, was the last bastion of gimmick wrestling. It was perfect for Brock to be the guy. And to that point, at WrestleMania 23, they optioned the idea. I'm sorry. No. earlier than that, WrestleMania 19 or 18, they optioned the idea of Kurt Angle ending Kurt Angle being the first guy to beat Undertaker because it had to be someone legitimate.
They also then jumped to Edge.
So and Taker said no because Flair was retiring then.
Mm-hmm.
If someone had to beat Taker, it had to be someone legitimate, and who better than a 6'6" foreign monster with all the strength in the world to legitimately beat the last gimmick.
I would have liked to have seen Sting and Taker myself. Let's see here. Death the Voice Actor writes, what would be your favorite top rope move in particular? I used to use the big splash from the top rope, but my favorite has always been the elbow drop. It's pretty. Macho Man elbow drop.
Billy Kidman's
Shooting Star
Press. But only when Billy Kidman did it.
Yeah.
Because it was the prettiest shooting star press ever. When I was a kid.
Oh, not ones we've done? So I thought in particular meant like us.
No,
doing
just not
top
like
rope.
a favorite. Like
favorite. No.
Okay.
yeah.
It's kind of real fucking hard to beat Rob Van Dam's 5-star frog splash.
Yeah.
It was pretty. He hurt himself every time he did it.
I think Billy Kidman's shooting star press was my favorite move growing up.
Frog splash in general when done.
Eddie Guerrero's frog splash.
Yeah.
I mean, hell. Jeff Hardy swan. I mean, you could
Yeah.
lay it around. But no, yeah.
The frog splash is really
The prettiest, honestly, was Bobby Eaton's Alabama Jam from the top rope, the leg drop. It's the hardest to hit correctly and not hurt somebody.
Bobby Eaton's knee drop was the prettiest fucking thing from the top rope. And the only guy to ever do that and not blow out his knee with a lower fourth knee pad.
All right,
which is insane.
I'm going to throw one more out. People can say what they want about the guy, but Chris Benoit swan dive headbutts, thing of beauty.
Oh my God,
absolutely.
Thing of beauty.
All right. Which professional wrestler do you admire most and why?
You want to go first?
Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle learned how to be a professional wrestler at the top of his game in 6 weeks, had the greatest varsity year in professional wrestling in history. Not only did he beat Stone Cold Steve Austin, he also beat The Rock for both of his world championships, and in his varsity year captured every single singles title in his first year in.
And that's why you admire him.
Number one. Yeah, because the dude showed up from the legitimate world of Olympic wrestling.
I know. I was just trying to get you to come in deeper.
From the legitimate, for those of you who don't know, Kurt Angle won the freestyle Olympic gold medal in the Olympics in 1996. A year later, transitioned to professional wrestling, completed the camp that they set up for trainees in 6 weeks. They signed him initially to a $50,000 deal pre-TV. It took him 6 weeks to talk himself up to $250,000 on the low end. Kurt Angle's the greatest professional wrestler, the fastest learning professional wrestler, had the most work ethic, and in 6 years in the WWE made more moments in the limited 6 years. Remember, he's got a 20-year career, but only six of them were in the WWE. In that time, in 6 years, wrestled 3 WrestleMania main events, captured more world championships in the spectrum of time than anybody else, made more money his last 2 years than anybody else in the company, transitioned to another company, wrestled for another 10 years, and then came back. Kurt Angle, number one.
Mine would be the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
I knew you were going to say that.
One of the best sellers in the business. He went from being the best seller in the business. Not only that, I mean, he was on top of his game in a big man sport when it wasn't okay to be a small wrestler.
Yep.
Could fly off the top rope, could brawl if needed. That match with Mankind at Mind Games in October of 96 for the championship was one of the most brutal things he'd ever done. He also had the sympathy from the crowd.
Helped.
No matter what he did or what personality he had, the crowd always forgave him.
Yeah.
Helped revolutionize the business.
Retired Ric Flair originally. Matches with The Undertaker back-to-back that were bangarang from beginning to end.
And my absolute favorite match at WrestleMania ever in history, in wrestling period, Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle, WrestleMania 21.
Yep. Also went an hour and 7 minutes and 56 seconds against the excellence of execution, Bret Hart, in the first ever Iron Man match.
Yep.
Where there was not a pinfall till sudden death.
Yep.
You can't beat it. Max?
I got to say, of course, Randy Orton. And of course, I have several reasons, but I only need 3.
And one of those reasons.
RKO.
For those of you who didn't see what he just did, I'm ashamed of him. All right, we got
Johnny?
2 more questions?
You
Oh,
got
yeah,
a
Johnny,
favorite
yeah.
wrestler of all
You hear
time?
Big Bad John?
Probably Undertaker.
Hey,
You know what? As a
absolutely.
Taker man myself, I'll disagree.
Love you, Bethany. Be safe.
All right, we got 2 more questions here.
We got one question.
One question left. Okay. Which WWE superstar would you have as a tag team partner?
Go ahead, Caleb. Fill it first.
Oh,
I know who I'd pick.
current. Hold on. Let's fair. Current WWE superstar. Current or of all time.
I think it just says.
That's important.
Don't-
Hold on.
don't-
Yeah, that's very important. I mean, don't have to be current. I'm guessing as long as they've been in the WWE, it would count.
Well, if I had to pick any tag team WWE superstar, it would be Bobby Eaton. Because he's the greatest tag team wrestler of all time. Why would I not want him as my partner?
Looking at me, I'm wearing flannel.
Mick
I've
Foley?
got a big
Mick.
beard and long hair. Who would you team me with?
Vader.
Show him the Vader bomb.
All
No,
right,
Mick
hold on.
Foley, 100%.
Let's get to one. Let's answer this last question.
Well, hold on. Let's get these.
Yes.
Max, who would you pick? Never mind. I know who you'd pick.
Well, it'd be Randy Orton.
Randy
Let me explain why.
Okay.
Let me explain why it'd be Randy Orton.
He's
because-
RKO again.
No, because we would win, and it would be awesome. And then because it's Randy Orton, I know he's going to turn on me, so he's going to try to RKO me. But I'm smart, and I know it's coming, so I'd RKO him, and that would be freaking legendary.
He would be celebrating as he was running so fast he would kick his own ass up the ramp to get away.
That's right.
Damn right. You are damn right.
Big
Big
John?
Bad John. If you had any WWE superstar, they clarified of all time as your tag team partner, who would you pick?
Tag team partner.
Tag
Uh-huh.
team partner.
That's a good question.
I'm gonna go with Undertaker.
Yeah.
Dang, can't be mad about that.
100%.
All right, guys, our last question. If you were to see any dream match from any era, what would you see? Luke, throwing this one to you first.
Are we
Across the generational divide.
Are we taking wrestlers from specific years?
Nope.
No.
Just a dream match of yours. They can be from any era.
Well, what I'm asking is in their prime or as they are right now?
No, pick whatever wrestler in their prime versus another wrestler in their
Shawn Michaels and Sting.
That's a good one.
It gets no better than that for me. Shawn
Yeah.
Michaels and Sting.
Yeah.
I want like Crow-esque fucking Sting versus like 96 Michaels.
Oh, my God.
Dude, Michaels at the top of his game. Sting's the hottest thing in pro wrestling. Boom. Money makes itself.
Ernest the Cat Miller versus Kaientai. No.
Somebody better call his mama.
My dream match, conversely, has always been The Undertaker versus Crow Sting. Always has been, always will be, and nobody can take that away from me.
Maximus.
Off the top of my head, I really don't have anything specific, to be honest with you.
Hey. We
There-
still
I
have
mean, there's
dream
a lot
matches.
There's
Yeah.
a lot.
Randy Orton and his dad versus me and my dad.
I'd like to see The Rock and his dad.
The Rock and
The
Rocky
Rock and
Johnson.
Johnson? Okay.
Uh-huh.
How about The Rock and Rocky Johnson versus Randy Orton and Cowboy Bob Orton?
That popped in my
you
head.
want to get into that second
just
generational
Rocky
match?
Johnson versus The Rock would sell.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Just like The Rock and Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I never won that heavyweight championship, but my son did. I have to prove that I'm better.
The
So
Rock
writes itself.
versus now in his what I consider to be his prime, Randy Orton.
Oh, yeah, both
Yeah.
third-generation superstars. That's a story. to
I
be
know
told.
we said 5 questions, but I
But
think
we
this
got a
one's
really good one here, yeah? Do you think that they made a mistake removing Kane's mask when they did, or should he have always kept it like Rey Mysterio? Yes,
Absolutely.
he absolutely should have kept it.
Yeah,
And he
100%.
never should have started talking.
The
Kane
reason-
didn't want to take the mask off.
No, it was a marketing thing.
Yeah.
They should have kept it because it killed the story. The story
Yeah.
was he was burned up and he couldn't speak. For no other reason, he should have never used his
Yeah.
real voice, and he should have always donned the mask.
Yep. Agreed.
Absolutely.
100%.
All right, guys. Well, that is going to tie us up. Thank you so much. This is one of our best engaged episodes ever here at Pro Wrestling Throwdown.
Remember, next week.
Next week, if you're not a subscriber, you cannot participate in the chat. So we implore you, please subscribe. That helps us a tremendous amount. If you're not a fan of the Facebook, check us out at facebook.com/Pro Wrestling Throwdown. If you don't follow us on Twitter, follow us on Twitter at Pro Wrestling TD. you can send us an email at prowrestlingthrowdown@gmail.com. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, guys. Thank you so much for your support today.
Also, WWE or our Facebook account.
Yes.
If you come across any kind of wrestling news that hasn't been posted on
Yeah,
it,
hit us with a message,
post it
man.
with your name, and we will give you the credit on next week's show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do not forget, next week we take our picks for Double or Nothing, which is going to increase our point take here. For those of you unaware, we're tied 7, 7, and 7 across the board. So next week's going to be a huge point dialer in.
Remember,
Make sure
if
you
Johnny
tune in.
gets more wins than the three of us,
Get
we
not
get nothing.
Get not a goddamn thing. But Johnny has to beat all three of us. So make sure to find us on the socials. Make sure to subscribe. Please tune in next week at 2:15.
Share.
Check us out again. We're going to be doing another Thursday night fight very soon. We're going to try to do one of those at least once a month. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for your engagement. We appreciate it so much. And as from us to you, as always, keep it in the ring.
I mean, keep it in the ring.
Fucking almost.
It's almost
I almost got it right.
What about Rikishi versus Umaga? Yeah, right?
Do you think that would work?
I mean, why not?